Hello everyone, my name is Shane, and in this video we're going to be doing an unboxing and I'm going to give my first impressions on the Galaxy S25. This phone is available for pre-order at the time of this video. I'll have links to it in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. The retail price is $800. Comes in 7 different colors. We have mint, navy, silver shadow, and this icy blue color we're going to be checking out here today. And there's 3 Samsung.com exclusive colors: blue black, coral red, and pink gold. There's 2 different configurations to choose from. We have 128 gigabytes standard and up to 256 gigabytes of storage, and both of these come packed with 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is an upgrade over last year's 8 gigabytes of RAM. Shout out to Samsung for sending out this review unit ahead of time. In the box, we have our device. Let's see what else we get inside the box. We have our usual suspects, some paperwork, a USB Type-C to Type-C charging cable, and a SIM ejection tool, but let's go ahead and check out the star of the show here, the Galaxy S25, here in the icy blue color. First impressions immediately out of the packaging, really liking this icy blue color a lot more than the silver blue found on my S25 Ultra. This one just looks a lot more gray in a lot of scenarios, whereas this icy blue looking a lot more similar to last year's blue on the S24. Of course, we have the new black camera rings on the back here, consistent on all the S25 phones for this year, and overall compared to last year's S24, feels and looks very similar. However, we have a couple physical refinements. We have a slightly smaller phone at 7.2 millimeters opposed to 7.6 millimeters. And this S25 on paper at least is a few grams lighter apparently. So let's go ahead, check the weight here. Have 161 grams on the S25. Let's take the S24 from last year. 167 grams. But in person, in hand, I really cannot tell the minor differences physically between these two phones, since this is already a pretty compact phone by today's standards. Taking a physical tour here, on the right side, we have our volume rockers and power button. On the left, we have our 5G antenna. We have 2 mics on the top. On the bottom, we have 1 more mic, our SIM tray, which in here we just have room for 1 SIM card, no micro SD card slot in this. We have our bottom firing speaker, which the S25 speakers are improved this year, and we have a Type-C port capable of 25 watts super fast charging. Taking our first look at the 6.2-inch 1080p 120 Hz AMOLED display, also an area here with not a lot of change over last year's S24. Really all that's new here with this S25 is the now 12 gigabytes of RAM on the base model, so some extra RAM to take advantage of a lot of those Galaxy AI features, and the new Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. Really excited to see what kind of battery metrics we can get out of this. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead, put all my information on this S25, use it for the day, test out the batteries and performance and some of the AI features, and I'll come back with my final first impressions on the Galaxy S25. Alright, so it's been a couple days since I first started using this S25. I'm definitely ready to share some of my first impressions with you guys. So getting into the phone, the biometrics, we have an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, so this gets you in instantly every single time, just the tap of your thumb. Doesn't even have to be super accurate. We also have the face recognition on top. Either way gets you in super quick. And once you're in, you'll be greeted by the 6.2-inch display. I've been really enjoying this screen in my first couple days of usage. It is kind of crazy to think about how much larger all of Samsung's other phones are, regardless of the price range, even within the S25 series itself. It is a significantly smaller phone. It's a noticeable difference. There is no other Samsung phone that I can easily, even at the top and the bottom, just grab this phone quickly and easily at a moment's notice. It's much more manageable in a one-handed use case for me personally so far. I was still able to play and enjoy some of my games on this smaller phone. Even though this is the smallest S25, it's still packed with the same exact Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. We still have very good performance on this device. And it has honestly been very refreshing to go back to this smaller form factor size. This is a much more manageable and just nice little enjoyable phone to be using throughout the day compared to those larger options. One-handed usage has been a lot more manageable on this phone. Of course, the One UI 7 software has been very enjoyable. It is by far the easiest on this S25 to reach the upper right panel. You have to go all the way up here to the corner to access that. I have found on the One UI 7 on some of the larger Samsung phones, you really have to get up to that upper right corner to do that. Otherwise, you might hit the notification panel by accident, where I found it much easier to access it on this smaller S25. And I know I've been saying it on all these S25 videos, but I will mention again, really liking the smooth soft software on this phone. Performance has been very good initially. Taking a look at the battery life, I was able to get 8 hours of screen on time over the course of 2 days on my first battery cycle. Granted, this was lighter use, so a few hours of watching YouTube. Did do a decent amount of camera testing, referencing my spreadsheets for a couple of hours, an hour and a half of web browsing, writing some notes in Samsung Notes, writing a few emails and things. To put this battery life into perspective, on my S25 Plus in a very similar use case, also over the course of 2 days, getting about an hour of additional battery life on this larger S25 Plus. So with that in mind, sacrificing just 1 hour of battery for this much smaller and compact phone. Taking a look at the cameras, we have a very versatile triple lens setup on the back. We have a 50 megapixel primary lens, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then as far as the zoom options go, we have a 2x optical quality zoom. The 3x then is an optical zoom, and then we have further zoom options at 10x, 20x, and 30x. And to give a quick gauge of what that 30x looks like, starting with a 1x shot here and then zooming into that 30x, that's the kind of leverage you're dealing with here. However, I will mention that the 30x on the Ultra version of this S25 is definitely more crisp. Here's a side-by-side of the 10x from both of these. The Ultra is technically still digital, but it's of apparently optical quality. Honestly, overall, you're getting a very similar camera experience on this S25 for a significant amount less of money. Video also comes out really nice looking on this, really smooth. You can transition lenses while you're in the middle of filming, and switching between your lenses and pinch zooming, it actually is pretty smooth. I've also been really enjoying some of the Galaxy AI features on all the S25 devices, and the smaller S25 here is no exception, such as the call logs feature. So you can go ahead, hit this record button on any of your phone calls, and then it's able to record all your phone calls for you, and then you can go back and reference your calls later on a log. This was just a call to my voicemail, but you can see that it picks up all the text and all the things it says. So I think this will honestly be genuinely useful to a lot of people. And I've also been really enjoying the audio eraser feature. So you can take any video, hit this Galaxy AI button at the bottom. It's going to go ahead, analyze the sound, and then you're able to edit all of your sound sources. So I have a test here right next to a highway. So we'll go ahead, check out how much of the noise it takes away from the highway. Let's see how the sound reduction does here as far as canceling out all this super loud highway noise behind me. And let's see how the sound reduction does here as far as canceling out all this super loud highway noise behind me. And so we can expect if you use the audio eraser feature and turn down the background noise. But overall, first impressions, I've been really enjoying this S25 in my initial usage, way more than I expected. It is so much easier for a one-handed typing experience. It is much easier to access some of the new quick panels and things with this new One UI 7 software. Battery life is definitely good enough in my initial testing, considering the size of this, getting 8 hours screen time over the course of 2 days. And overall, there's really not a lot that I can fault this phone for. I'm just really appreciative that Samsung still offers this size of phone, since everything else they offer at this point is significantly larger. We do have some slight physical advantages on this S25 over the S24 with that little bit of a slimmer profile. It's making a small phone feel even smaller, but I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on the S25 in the comments below. Be sure to give a like on your way out, and feel free to check out some of my other videos on this S25 launch from this week if you're interested. Take care.